I thought we could talk a little bit about the FBI. Why not? Here in Albion, we don't need to worry about the jurisdiction of the FBI, so we can talk smack about them all day long.
I hear they're having a bad time. I've heard that people in the FBI are very worried and are quitting. The swamp is draining itself.
Right, yeah. So Trump has put forward that Kash Patel fella as his pick for the new leader of the FBI. We were saying just before we started recording that until a week or so ago, or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, I'd never heard the name before.
He's the one with the insane face, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. He's got crazy eyes.
Oh, yeah. I suppose he has, actually.
Yeah.
A bit.
But I like that because it makes me think that he's going to be looking at like the people in the FBI with his crazy eyes and they're going to be like, oh, God, he's going to get it. I watched a bunch of podcasts with him on.
Me too.
And because all of my like MAGA friends were like, oh, no, this guy's great. Trust us. He's exactly the pick. And I watched a bunch of the podcasts. I was like, oh, wow, he really is. Like, he's going to ruin them.
When the name came up, I was like, well, I need to know something about this dude.
Yeah.
And watched a few stuff, read a few things. It's like, okay, seems like, as you say, exactly, yeah, it's another great pick for Trump to do. Because I said this when I did a segment a week or two ago about Trump's various picks. Although there's loads of strong people in there, one or two I was a bit concerned about. Yeah. Like Tulsi Gabbard, or here or there, just like, are they going to be strong enough? Are they really going to have like a will of iron that they're going to need? This Kash Patel seems like he's up for it, and you're going to need a crazily strong person at the FBI, particularly at the FBI, because the institutional strength there is legion.
Yes, I'm not worried about Tulsi Gabbard actually. I think she seems to be quite a strong person. I mean, she came under a huge amount of attack. Well,
she's pretty strong. She's very strong compared to a normal average person. Yeah. But what she's being asked to do, though, is one of the most difficult things ever.
But, purge these institutions. I mean, she resisted the entire machinery of the Democrat Party, calling her all sorts of things, Russian asset, all this sort of stuff. And she resisted it all and then was like, no, okay, I'm going to join Trump now. So I'm quite impressed with her, to be honest. I think a lot of people would have buckled, and she didn't. And she hasn't shown any weakness in the face.
I've got my fingers crossed.
Yeah, and same with RFK and the health department and things like that. It's like, I'm hoping there are just a bunch of maniacs put in charge of these bureaus, frankly.
Yeah. And so RFK, we all know, has been picked for sort of health. What's going on here? Not scrolling down. Oh, there we go. But his daughter-in-law, is it? Yeah, the wife of his son, RFK III, is Amaryllis Fox Kennedy. I think that's how you pronounce her first name anyway. Again, I'd never heard of her until very, very recently, a couple of days ago. A lot of them just call her Fox Kennedy. That he's like putting in the word to get her the job as second in command at the CIA. Because she was in the CIA for years, for like 10 years. She was an agent in the CIA, undercover one, I believe. And she wrote a book about it, her memoirs about being in the CIA, which she actually didn't get sign-off formally from them to publish, which is a bit of a no-no. Yeah. Shouldn't really do that. In fact, I'm surprised. I'm sure America must have an equivalent of an Official Secrets Act. I'm not sure you can really get away with it. Although we live in a different world. I mean, it used to be the case that if you're in the Special Forces even, you couldn't really talk about it. It used to be that if you were in the SAS, you didn't retire and then write a book about it. But all that's changed with Bravo to Zero and all sorts of stuff. And now people, like the Spycatcher by Peter Wright, which I've spoke about a few times, that was published back in the 80s. You weren't in the MI5 or MI6, retire and then write about it. You just didn't do it. But now people just do.
It might also be that they don't necessarily want to bring a lawsuit against her. Well, I mean, I don't know what's in the book, but it could be there. We don't want to dig that up. Who knows?
Yeah, and there's a Streisand effect.
Yeah,
people are savvy enough are like, well, let's just let it go.
Yeah, exactly. I'd never heard of her.
If we kick up a shitstorm, then more people are going to have heard of it. Yeah. So anyway, she was in the CIA for 10 years, and he's putting in a strong word, apparently, behind the scenes, to get her second in command at the CIA. Right. And so, again, she's a strong critic of them. Mm-hmm. So, again, just another... It seems like Trump and the Trump team are really doing all they can to do the best picks they can get. because that was Trump's weakness. I think the first time round, it's fair to say.
Yep. No,
That a lot of his picks were naive, or or in hindsight anyway, just wrong, the wrong type of person, or he sometimes didn't even replace people at all.
Yeah.
Whereas he's much more of a savvy operator now, isn't he? Much more.
Well, he's definitely coming back
Obviously,
with a vengeance.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, you are right. Trump.
I'm here for it.
Trump naively expected that the institutions would accept, okay, you're the president, we'll do as you say, because you're the commander in chief, and that was not the case. And so he had a very difficult time in 2017 to 2021 or whatever it was. But yeah, he's very clearly learned his lesson. And I mean, the fact that he's putting like RFK in charge of health and stuff like that, that's radical. That's a genuinely radical position. Yeah. Like putting Cash Patel in charge of the FBI, that's radical. Like, what were the other ones? Like this, he's got some really good ones where it's just like, oh wow.
The Tom Homan is board as
well. Yeah. We're not going to deport them. We're not going to split families. No, we're going to deport the whole family. Like, that's radical.
The guy at Defence, the guy at Homeland.
Yeah.
And even though I did have a little bit of criticism for Tulsi Gabbard, the people in the intelligence services oversight people.
Yeah. They're all like, not her.
Strong,
it's like, okay, good. Yeah. Her. Yeah. That means it has to be her. You know, if literally 100 of them signed a letter going like, oh no, she's going to be terrible. It's like, yeah, for you.
Yeah.
You know, right. That's why suddenly, I want her in charge. I want him in charge. I want Cash Patel in charge. I want these people to go out and literally just flush out, like give these institutions an enema. Like, that you're all gone. You know, you're all gone. Like I saw 100 FBI agents were thinking about quitting or something. It's like, great.
I'd love it.
What about 200? Can we get 200?
I'd love it. Yeah. Well, I'm so anti-FBI that if it were me, and this is sort of obviously just fairyland stuff, but just get rid of it entirely. No, there's nothing in the Constitution that says you have to have the FBI. Totally. Nothing at all. Yep. It was completely made up in the early 20th century by J. Edgar Hoover. Yep. There was a bit of a Red Scare, and so they made the FBI. America can exist without the FBI entirely.
Had for hundreds of years.
Right. And so, maybe that is a bit much to entirely disband and entirely just rub out everything FBI, but...
Let's go to Elon's Department of Government Efficiency. What do you think? It's like, no.
Each state can do policing for themselves, and maybe, in fact, to be realistic, probably some sort of overall federal overview. Because there's a thing like, for example, if you do get crazy people like the Dillinger gang or something going across borders, doing a cross-nation crime spree, you would want something to marry up all the different states and things. But whether you need this giant edifice of the FBI, which has always been political.
Oh yeah.
From day one, J. Edgar Hoover, it was a political thing, and the way they've behaved over the decades is absolutely insane.
Give us the top three.
Oh God! Well, I wouldn't even know where to start, and I'm not even joking. I mean, there's a wiki on Wikipedia. The list, the link isn't there, but on Wikipedia there's just a list of FBI controversies, and it doesn't even scratch the surface.
There it is.
Oh,
there you go. And this doesn't even scratch the surface. Quite a long web page.
Waco, Ruby Ridge.
Yeah. Just off the top of my head, if you go back to the early days, J. Edgar Hoover talking about the mafia and organised crime, he said there isn't any.
Well,
there's no such thing as organised crime in America. The mafia doesn't really exist. Don't worry about it.
I mean,
it's nonsense. Of course, it was nonsense. Everyone that had lived in America knew that there was.
Well, that's because one of the weaknesses of these big federal agencies is that J. Edgar Hoover was exceptionally easy to blackmail.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of photographic evidence of him being a very, very naughty boy with younger boys.
He was a degenerate.
Yeah.
And they had loads and loads of dirt on him. And he had loads and loads of dirt on everyone else. Often that's the way blackmail works, is that both people are blackmailing each other and you're both on the same page then. You're both singing from the same choir sheet, etc., etc. So, the way the FBI and J. Edgar Hoover behaved in relation to the JFK assassination and the Warren Commission, and the way they investigated RFK Sr.'s death, just the list goes on and on and on and on. The number of things that they've done.
Didn't they spy on the Trump campaign?
Yeah.
Right. Which is low down the list.
I mean,
bad things that they've done.
I mean, to come up to modern times, I mean, it's just the number of things that they're involved in and then pretend they're not. Just yeah.
It's going on our screen today.
A number of things, but just to bring it right up to sort of Trump, directly involved with Trump. I mean, there's sort of the Mueller report, where it's the FBI saying Donald Trump is a Russian Manchurian candidate. We will spend half your administration investigating that, and at the end of it, go, oh yeah, we got nothing.
Yeah, there was literally nothing.
That's Bob Mueller himself.
Yeah.
Right.
And the thing is,
sorry.
Again, with this thing, if there was something genuinely like compromising on Trump, we would have found it by now. The FBI would have found it by now, and we'd know about it by now. And again, I just can never get over the fact that there's nothing compromising on Trump.
Well, all of the compromising stuff has had to be stuff that was personal cases through civil courts that have been dug up from 20 years ago.
Porn star 20 years ago or whatever. It's like,
Rachel Maddow's going to find out all the financial things he's done wrong. Oh, not really.
Trump University, Trump. That's all they went on about with the financial stuff.
Yeah, here's how much tax he paid. Well, that's a lot of tax. I hate tax too.
Or like when the FBI was supposed to investigate the server that Hillary Clinton had in her bathroom.
Yeah.
Oops, just not really doing it. Yeah. Just not doing it. Or the Biden laptop.
Yeah. The suppressing the Hunter Biden laptop. It's been handed to the FBI. Oh, well, that's that done then.
Thanks, FBI.
Good thing it went to, what's his name, Giuliani first.
Yeah.
You know, if it had been handed to the FBI, we wouldn't know anything about what was on it.
Oh, if you remember, soon after Trump had left office, after he'd had that election stolen from him, the FBI raided his Mar-a-Lago estate, didn't they, for those documents that he was allowed to have.
Yep, but Biden had done exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
And
so,
no,
you go.
I was just going to say, and this is all that I'm just looking at this FBI controversies page here as well. Oh, yeah, they've got listed down the side. What are the two of those listed down the side? Waco siege and Ruby Ridge. None of this is to mention just the times that the FBI, alongside the ATF and other government agencies, just raided and murdered American citizens because they'd got them in some kind of sting operation where they'd contrived a reason. I think it was it Waco or Ruby Ridge where it was like, oh, we got an insider to sell you illegal guns.
That was Ruby Ridge.
Yeah, Ruby Ridge, where
there's a bit of content with me and Josh.
Yeah, they contrive a situation where they can go in and seize you, and then they just end up murdering all of you.
But also like the 1993 World Trade Center bombing, right? Where the FBI basically radicalized some guy and provided him with everything to do it. It's like,
the list is honestly endless. This wiki page it barely scratches the surface. It's endless.
Yeah.
There's loads of things which aren't proven. Where you just suspect that the FBI must be involved in it.
Yeah, just a reminder. Just go back up to Ruby Ridge for a second. Just to
say, there's a Contemplations with me and Josh where we talk all about Ruby Ridge in fantastic detail, and an epochs about Waco.
Yeah, if you want to know what the FBI did at Ruby Ridge, they basically get one of this guy's group members to buy illegal weapons, and they say, right, this gives us a reason to charge you. He refuses to appear, so they start to spy on him and his family in their little compound. His son, Randy Weaver's son, runs into an FBI agent because his dog ran out into the woods or something. So the FBI agent just shoots the dog, and then when the kid runs away, shoots his son in the back.
What? Jesus.
He's a kid. He's like 10 years old. And the FBI agent was just like, well, you don't matter. Bang. Acceptable casualties. Bang. They shot his wife in the face with a sniper rifle while she was carrying their baby.
Jesus Christ.
In the doorway of their own...
Yeah, she was just stood in the doorway because gunfire starts happening. And she's like, what the hell is going on? She's got her baby in her arms.
And their other daughter was standing right next to her.
Yeah, bam, dead.
Jesus.
And the sniper... got away with it, wasn't charged with anything. And again, all this, just to really, really reiterate, is not even scratching the surface. The number...
These people are evil.
Yeah. The FBI, in my opinion, is a cancer on the United States, almost in its entirety. Yeah. Perhaps there is need for some sort of bureaucracy to help marry up all the different policing organs. But you don't need a giant FBI.
But the TV showed me shows where the FBI are the good guys.
Yeah, I watched X-Files.
Yeah.
They're just good people trying to do good in the world.
I mean, yeah.
Sorry, Dragon Lady Chris, what about the Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping plot? Great point. Yeah, great point. There's just so many people.
It's endless. There's loads of examples of when actual terrorists have actually gone through and carried out terrorist things, and it turns out they've been acting as an asset one way or the other for the FBI.
I mean, literally the 1903 bombing.
And loads of things where there's not the full story hasn't come out, and probably is impossible for it to entirely come out. For example, the Las Vegas shooter. What connection did he have?
The Engaged View makes a great point via the soup chat. The FBI was just created by executive order. It can be dissolved by executive order. Absolutely. It's not a constitutional part of the United States. There's no legislation that brought it into being. Trump could just be like, right, you're gone.
I would bet my mortgage that if you quantum leap someone like Madison or John Adams or Jefferson to now and said, look at this, they would be aghast. They would be appalled. And it's not what they intended at all.
Well, Andrew Jackson, part of his presidency was that he shut down the first American central bank because he recognised that this will be a rogue element in the government that's going to act as a separate power centre and, you know, control the money supply. His proudest moment after he came out of office was he said, "I beat the bank." Yeah. So bring somebody like Andrew Jackson here, he'd be like, "What the hell have you done to my country?"
Yeah.
So the current leader of it is Chris Wray, and he was actually a Trump appointee because he got rid of Comey, didn't he?
Yep.
And they usually have a tenure of 10 years, but he's retiring. He's come out publicly and said, "I'm going to retire. So when the Biden administration ends, that will be when I retire." And Trump went on Truth. Is it Truth Social? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it is.
Saying, "Great, brilliant. That's a great day for America."
Yeah.
So I can get my guy, Kash Patel, in straight away on day one, sort of a thing. Because surely it's a classic example of jumping before you're pushed.
Yes.
It's got to be, isn't it?
Clearly.
Because he's been acting as, well, just not just him, but the FBI has been acting as just the enforcement wing of the Democrat Party. Look at the Mar-a-Lago thing. Look at the Mueller report. Look at the not investigating Hillary or the Biden laptop. They're a cancer.
Yeah. And political. They're a political operation.
Yeah. And always have been. Absolutely always have been. If Kash Patel can rip them a new one,
essentially,
that would be sweet AF, in my opinion.
You are right, because under a Republican government, you would have a fair argument to make that these are essentially a rogue element within government.
Yeah.
Again, a seemingly unaccountable federal bureaucracy that can just manufacture situations where they can potentially just murder American citizens.
Yeah.
Okay, no, we don't need you. Get rid of you.
Yeah. I mean, the Cold War...
You're gone, and also you're being charged for crimes.
Like, you can understand, like, the feeling in America in the 20th century. Like, look, we're against some sort of mystical ideological enemy that spends a lot of time on, gay ops, basically.
Well, the funny thing is, if it was supposed to be combating the Red Scare,
sure, I'm not saying
they were terrible at that too.
Yeah, I'm not saying
they were terrible at that too. Every attempt to combat the Red Scare in America was then turned into McCarthyism, which is apparently bad because
but the point
FDR
is,
opening up the American government to loads of Soviets jumping in. It's fine.
I'm not saying they're not terrible, but you can see the impetus to create something like this, right? You'd be like, okay, no, we've got ideological infiltrators. It's a different kind of war we're fighting, but that's all gone now. That's gone. The instruments that we have in place for that sort of thing, they can go too. It can all go. To
be fair, there is some continuity though, in that it was run then and now by weird cross-dressers.
True. Actually, on Twitter, people found RFK's TikTok account and noticed that he'd been simping after adult women on it. Now, this wasn't actually...
Weird.
Well, it wasn't actually him. He'd bought it off some Zoomer, right?
I think it was some Zoomer who worked for his campaign.
Ran it or whatever, right? And he was, so it's just an adult woman. And he's like, wow, hot or something. And it's just like, wow, for the first time in living memory, like the institutions of the United States are going to be run by heterosexual men.
A straight dude which isn't a paedophile.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, no, that's...
I was honestly...
remarkable.
It was the most disappointing thing when everybody in your replies was like, actually, this...
Yeah, I know.
I was like, no!
No! I did actually already know that when I'd posted it, but it was just such a funny take on it. I was like, no, this is great news. RFK likes women.
There's just a level of whimsy and humour I get from the idea of RFK on his phone when nobody's looking, just going on women on TikTok, posting their arse and going, Nice. Hot. What's your number, baby?
But I'm just like, okay, great. He's not a weird degenerate. That's great, you know. And that was disappointed to learn.
I mean, what would we have learned through that? That yes, in fact, he is a Kennedy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's a Kennedy. Yeah, he likes chicks. Okay, great. That's fine. That's totally fine.
They dig the women's over at the Kennedy clan.
Exactly. That's totally fine.
So with someone like Kash Patel and all sorts of other of the Donald's picks, it looks like hopefully really will be going after the many layers of intelligence interference, domestic interference in America.
Everything might be going badly in Britain, but I'm genuinely excited for Trump's next administration.
Yeah, I just hope they can sort of hit the ground running, and he doesn't run into anywhere near as much sort of institutional pushback.
Well, it looks like he's going to have the lieutenants to deal with it, right? Because I mean, like it's literally going to be like, I mean, Kash Patel strikes the sort of guy who's just going to start firing people if they get in the way. Yeah, like, no, gone. You know, like I imagine Elon Musk is like shearing off large sections of the federal government, just inefficient. And so like it looks like they're just prepared to actually start just literally clearing them out, which is great.
The only thing I'll say, the worry is,
fingers crossed.
That, of course, we live in a different world than the 1970s, but when Hoover actually died, Nixon put in his own pick, a bureaucratic pick, rather than the second in command, Mark Felt, I believe it was, who it was really his gig to get. And Nixon passed him over and got a guy that he knew, just a bureaucrat guy, and put him at the top of the FBI. And it was pretty bad. It was bad, really, because he didn't know the institution inside out, and wasn't able to, wasn't sort of savvy enough to know exactly what you needed to do to fix everything. And the FBI internally sort of closed ranks and did everything they possibly could to frustrate him. And the White House, and I'm sure that will happen again, and there'll be a battle there, battle of words, a battle of wills.
But Kash Patel looks mental enough to win it.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
I hope so.
He does actually look rabid.
I know, it's great. This is exactly the kind of guy I want them to have to live under. Like if you remember when Priti Patel got that Putnam guy to quit from the civil service, I've been bullied by her. Man, she is nothing compared to what I want to happen in America. Yeah. Like, you know, I'm really hoping that Trump's guys are just kind of mental.
That was why I never ever, I don't buy
I know.
The Priti Patel or Suella Braverman thing of, I tried to change the department, but they wouldn't. Well, you were the wrong. Well, one, I don't really believe you on the face of it, and two, you weren't the right person to do that job then, were you?
Yeah, you should have just been firing people.
Oh no, but we need the Prime Minister to do it. Well, you either get him to do it or you resign on the spot then, because, oh no, you're happy to keep the job and keep the money rolling. Okay, fine. Yeah. Anyways, I suppose that's it. Just fingers crossed.
Thanks for watching, folks. If you'd like to support us, go sign up to the website, £5 a month, or you could buy someone a premium gift subscription, which is a new feature that we have, and go and watch Bo's Epoch series on the rise of Vercingetorix. He's doing a very, very long and very, very detailed breakdown of the life of Julius Caesar. And of course, part 13 is Vercingetorix becoming the opposition, the Celtic opposition to Julius Caesar. I'm not going to spoil it. Go and watch that. And of course, go and follow us on X at lotuseaters_com for when we upload things and for more information.